I was just thinking as I was driving in, because traffic was a bitch this morning.
Traffic sucked
It was
today.
so bad. I don't know why, but whatever.
What do you think about when you're driving, by the way? Does your mind really wander?
Well, I mean, today I spent a lot of it on the phone with Tracy talking about all kinds of things. When do we get the basement redone? And,
wait.
you know,
At like 9 in the morning, you getting hit with that stuff?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even answer the phone.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to
Oh,
Mark.
honey, wait. It's work call. I got to run, baby.
Exactly.
Going a little bit. Love you.
She was talking to Marge last night about the Housewives episode and all these other things going on. And I was thinking, BT, it would be so nice if I just had a helicopter, could fly my way in.
Be nice,
just
right?
whenever I wanted to.
Yeah.
If I wanted to just peace out for a little bit, I could just get on my own private aviation and leave. And it reminded me of what James Harden said.
He does have that
James Harden
lifestyle.
does whatever he wants.
Yep.
At least he did when he was in Houston, and he comes to New York, and maybe doesn't get that anymore. Maybe that's why he was disgruntled.
He looks
Dude, it's crazy. I had no idea that he had that much privilege. Or I don't know. It's not even privilege.
No, that's the right word.
It's worse than privilege, though. Privilege seems like positive.
Meaning you earn it, kind of?
Yeah, but it's more like, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it.
Well, it's certainly not conducive to winning.
It's not.
Or to chemistry.
Or
we
team
can call
building.
it that for sure.
Exactly right.
Listen, James Harden to me. And by the way, so can I just tell you this? I tell you, the timing is really annoying me right now. So, as a quick aside, my ATM card, sometimes it kind of just sneakily expires.
Yes.
And, of course, you got everything linked into it, Amazon, all the you know what I'm saying,
And they
right?
send you another one. You're like, why did I get another card?
But they don't alert you that the other one ends. And, yes, I probably should be aware of, it ends 12/21. All right, probably want to make plans for a new one there, buddy. But so everything's linked in, and it's been going on for like 4 or 5 days. So I'm using different cards. I'm like putting coffee on American Express, charging. I'm like, I just want to function and get through the day. So I finally, and I had a rough time getting in traffic-wise today as well. Finally go over to my bank, which is near our work, and they were really helpful trying to get to the bottom of whatever the heck is going on, because they did send me the new one. I ordered some stuff from Amazon, declined, failed, and it's not that there's no money, it's just not linking through.
Yes.
The guy calls, literally, as I opened my mic and you heard, and the Odyssey Sports app, the guy calls. And I was there at like 9:03. He's like, I'll call you within 10 minutes, I promise. I'm like, I start the show at 10.
Yeah.
He knows what we do. 10:01, literally the worst time to possibly call, he called. So that really annoyed me. But to me, James Harden, I am officially rooting against James Harden. The rest of his career. I hope he's served up a healthy dose of 3 for 18s in conference finals and 2 for 22s in NBA finals if he gets there. See, James Harden, to me, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I'm going to throw it out there.
Go ahead.
And I think that this will be an all-inclusive conversation, because I'll find a way to weave in every sport. And even if you're not a big basketball fan, you will find a way to want to react and comment to this. So, James Harden, to me, is a perfect microcosm of what is wrong. I'm not going to say with sport. I'm going to say with the NBA. And I love my NBA.
Yeah.
Whether it was in the yard, dunk contest, listening to Run DMC through the speakers, or, wearing the Jordans, playing CY. I love basketball. And I still watch it, and I still love it. But I think I'm a dwindling number right now. Because a lot of my buddies who grew up with the same enthusiasm look at the NBA, they're like, this sucks. And James Harden represents a lot of what is wrong with the NBA. You're talking about the private jets. I don't begrudge you for making money. You're a commodity. People
do
pay
what
you
you want to do.
Go for it. But when you're given the latitude, or you take it and not travel with the team, and you force trades, and now this is about bigger picture, not just James. There's a salary imbalance. The top guy's making 50, the scrub is making 1 million, whatever it might be. There's a lack of defense. The shot selection, teams launching 53s a game. The construction of super teams. The league is so young. How about this? So Jamari Smith, probably going to go first overall, right?
Yes.
From Auburn, he's 19. The kid Ivy from Purdue, he's 20. The kid Holmgren, he's still 19. The kid RJ Griffin is 18. The league gets younger and younger. They become more and more entitled. They're given the freedom to do whatever the hell they want. And to me, James Harden is a perfect microcosm of the erosion of the league. The league is not in a good place.
Well, I mean,
I don't care what anybody says.
I've thought this for
It's not.
a couple of years.
Don't tell me about ratings and contracts.
Yeah, it's not even. Socially,
the night-to-night product is not good.
So here's the thing, and this is the problem, BT. Socially, social media, I should say, the NBA is in a great spot because all these guys are individual brands, right? We all know them, and we care about what they do, and we follow them on Instagram, we follow them on Twitter, we opine about their outfits, like all this other stuff that has nothing.
Do you care about that?
I have zero
care what LeBron is wearing into the
No
arena.
idea.
Look at me, I'm
no
LeBron.
Idea. Sometimes I'll clown Russell Westbrook because it's like, what the hell are you even thinking, dude?
He's got the zoot suits.
Whatever he's got. But that's what it's become. But the other thing, and we've talked about this many times on our other show, BT, they're unrelatable. Like you can't relate to an NBA player these days, and most of it's because of the money. I mean, they make so much money. I'm not saying they shouldn't make this much money, tame it down so they have more humility. That's not what I'm talking about. But they are unrelatable to the average fan, right? A guy's making more than a Fortune 500 CEO consistently. They're making that for a decade, some of these guys. And so they don't care. Right? They don't have to care because when they sign on the dotted line and it's a $300 million contract, it's their money. And there's really no way for them not to get that money.
True.
And so they develop this, not everybody, obviously, but so they just develop this, I don't know, this air of I can do whatever I want. And I can't prove this, but I see it on a night-to-night basis. Some of them play that way on the court. And that's what bothers me. Now, you're going to make $50 million a year. Great. I want to see you busting your ass, diving for every ball.
Like Giannis.
Exactly.
Like Durant.
Running through every pick. Like all of that. I want to see it. I earn it. Earn it for me as a fan. Because I know you're making a ton of money and you have generational wealth for, your great-grandkids. But earn it. And I don't see it. And so when the product doesn't represent what I know they're getting compensated, it gets frustrating. And it's why, honestly, BT, when we were doing national, I didn't watch a lot of basketball until we got to the postseason because I couldn't watch.
You would always say that
this
to me.
laissez-faire.
Yeah, you would say that.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jack this up. I don't feel like going to the set that, our coach called or the point guard. I don't care. I'm just going to jack that up. And I'm not going to run back on D. Like that's frustrating for me to watch because I played a sport where there was urgency in every single thing that you did. Every play matters in the NFL because you never know when that play becomes the play. Basketball, you don't get that.
And by the way, it's not just what we watch nightly. If you do choose to watch the NBA on a nightly basis, it's the lower you get each level. It's evident there as well, doing college games. And I don't mean just St. John's. I mean some of their opponents as well. Jacking up horrendous shots, guys that have not earned the green light to put it up from 23 feet. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Then you walk into an AAU gym. You've got like 12 different entities, 12 different brands. Every handler, every sycophant thinks, oh, this is my ticket to squeeze off a couple of $100,000. I'm going to help this guy.
Yep.
And then you've got the middlemen, you've got the sneaker guys. And listen, you always had street agents and sneaker guys. Let's not be foolish about this, but when you mix in now it's odd because some of the aesthetics of the game now are beautiful.
Of course.
Like when you watch Durant do his thing, when you watch Steph Curry, it is beautiful.
Yeah, you watch the ball movement and the precision.
Beautiful.
I agree with you.
And I'm not going to misremember what we watch as much as I love the 80s and the 90s. The 90s was hard, and it was made hard by our Knicks.
Yeah.
It was a rock fight. Hand check in.
Brick.
Down the lane foul. We loved it because we didn't know better, right? But, I didn't even mention maintenance days, by the way. So you can talk about the construction of super teams, and you can talk about shot selections and when defense is optional. You talk about the salary imbalance, not traveling with the team, but even the maintenance days. And I got to tell you, big picture, when you look at baseball, and I know baseball's got some issues, and not just labor issues, but the shift, the pace of the game, bullpenning, blah, blah, blah. Football, you can't hit people the way you used to. Too many penalties. It's been softened for some people. But if you look at from A to Z, I really believe this. The sport that has undergone the most change for the worst is the NBA.
What's the worst one to you, BT?
And James Harden's Exhibit A.
I agree. So
He's fat.
What's the worst one for you? What's the worst?
The NBA.
No. The worst change in the NBA. Is it the lack of competitive regular season play? Is it the moving around? Is it the maintenance day? Like, what is the worst?
What bothers me
what's most egregious to you?
I would say the lack of commitment to team. The other things, like, I understand the evolution of the world and the explosion of salaries, so you're going to get things that we didn't see necessarily growing up, and I'm fine with that. It's all good. Go get yours. But when you have James Harden in front of a microphone yesterday dissing the Nets, when that guy was 25 pounds overweight, with hamstrings barking, indifferent to defense, not flying with his team. Is this guy kidding me?
Yeah, no,
Is
I hear
this
what you're
guy
saying.
kidding me?
No, I mean, the good
That's
thing is
what bothers
you
me.
talked about it being young, and the young part, it doesn't bother me, but it frustrates me because you get these young, great kids that supposedly are coming into the league to be great, and from their college days or college day, or even not even, because they have overtime elite now. There's a couple of these kids that are going to get drafted in the first round that never even played college. They're so young, you can't guarantee that they're going to make it. Like you don't know if they're going to be a star because they're 19 years old playing a man's game. So that's one. But there are some young players, BT, that give me hope that maybe it can flip back to somewhat normalcy. And
I don't even love the commissioner anymore, by the way. I'm down on Silver.
Yeah,
he's just let the league run. It's too loose.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You got to be not quite Stern, but maybe somewhere more in the middle.
You're right. Like Trae
Young,
Young, for instance, BT. Trae Young feel like he's a young superstar.
Yeah.
Like we know where he's heading, and he's not even thinking about, at least right currently, he's not even thinking about, I got to win a championship. I don't like this Atlanta situation. Where can I go when my rookie deal is up? And like where can I bounce to and go be the man somewhere? He's not thinking that. He's following the
Giannis blueprint.
The Giannis blueprint, or the Dame Lillard. Not that Dame is going to win a championship in Portland. I mean, that's probably sailed.
There's no chance he's going to win one there.
I don't see
none.
And he doesn't seem to want to leave, so he's probably not ever going to win one. But at least he's loyal.
Yeah.
Right? At least he's loyal to Portland, and they'll love him forever.
That's right.
Even if he never wins a championship,
Still means something,
right? So there's a couple of these guys that are kind of old school in that regard, but by and large, once you become a superstar, that's when we see these guys like change into, I don't want to call them divas because that's just too easy. They just turn into, I don't know, non-relatable stars.
Yeah, that's what you said before. You're not wrong.
Yes.
I'm with you, man. And I guarantee as we get to these phones here, because I just know a lot of my buddies who are in their mid to late 40s who just inhaled the sport of basketball. They're like, dude, how do you watch the NBA?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, number one,
Because you're
I
a
do
Knicks
this for a
fan.
living, number one.
And you're a Knicks fan.
But that's
Huge.
even more reason. How do I watch the NBA? It's
True.
not like the Knicks or the Warriors.
I mean, look, I said it yesterday, BT. They were entertaining for most
stop.
of the game.
No, stop. Come on, dude.
They were entertaining until they crapped it away.
I'm able to compartmentalize what bothers me versus what I still enjoy about the game, but
Yeah,
a
I
lot
hear
of
you.
people are not.
Yeah.
877-337-6666. All right, let's get to you. Let's go to Mike, who's in Monmouth County. And Mike is on the fan, Tiki and Tierney. Good morning, Mike. What's going on, bub?
Hey, gents. How we doing today?
Good.
Good, Mike. What's up, man?
All right. So I'm a former college basketball player, small time. I've worked in the underbellies of grassroots hoops. Work in college athletics now. There is nothing like the college game. I grew up in late 90s, early 2000s. Allen Iverson, Allen Houston.
Vince Carter.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
the game is completely changed. The spacing on the floor, it's all right. Dribble and get to the basket and throw a fucking throw an alley-oop.
All right, drop that. Dove, do you hear that? Dump that, please, Dove.
I got
Thank
it.
you.
I got it.
Go ahead. We can't be cursing here, Mike. I got to drop you, buddy. I know everybody's revved up. Dove,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to Dove sucking down yogurt. Make sure that was. I'm just kidding. Hopefully that was dumped. I know it was.
I have it.
And by the way, let's not be disingenuous here for a moment, because the other night, while you know where we stand on the direction of the NBA,
Yeah.
I'm watching the Yes Network had Don Larson's perfect game from 56, right?
Yes.
And I was showing my son, and it's grainy black and white footage, and I love that stuff. You know that. And I actually put a video clip of Larson's windup up on video on Twitter, and it was just like a little 30-second excerpt. And he was from the full windup. Nobody was on base.
Yeah.
And he had no leg kick. He had no backward momentum, no forward drive. And I said, how hard? It was basically like he threw the ball without even taking a step forward.
Yeah, like standing still.
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm like, how hard was that fastball? 84 miles per hour? The point being, every game changes.
Yeah.
Every game evolves. But when there's a sense that guys aren't competing,
Yes.
that's when it's no longer,
But
doable,
BT,
whatever.
that's my biggest part.
Enjoyable.
That's my biggest issue.
Palatable.
Is the competition doesn't pick up until it matters.
Yeah.
But should never get matter. These people are going to be entertained, and you're not entertaining them.
True. Matt's in Long Hill, New Jersey. Matt is on the fan. Matty.
What's up, Matt?
Hi, how you guys doing this morning?
We're good, Matt.
Great.
Awesome, great. I just wanted to make a comment about what you were mentioning with like the youth of the NBA kind of seeming like they're getting maybe more like entitled and spoiled. I think if you look at somebody like Giannis Antetokounmpo, where he's come from in his life, growing up in Greece, on the poorer side, having to work really hard. He just doesn't seem like another NBA superstar would have stayed in Milwaukee as long as he did and tried to keep going with it and tried to make that team as good as it is.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just like growing up, maybe like in America, we're like more not entitled, but more like going for you. I think that's a huge impact of what's going on with the youth of the NBA.
Well, I mean, look, it's an interesting comparison because I think a lot of the American youth basketball players in these AAU systems that BT is talking about, they see where they want to be and where they think they're going to be. Whereas Giannis, and by the way, we gave some credit to some of these younger players like Trae Young, like even Ja Morant, and Giannis is obviously is the poster child of this. They're not diva-ing it.
Not yet.
Not yet. But
I don't think Morant is wired that way. But you never know.
You never know. But what we're saying is the guys that became stars, like super uber stars, all NBA players and competing for MVPs, they've kind of like taken privilege with their status. And that makes it kind of, I don't know, less desirable of a, like you don't relate, obviously, but they're just less desirable to like.
You know why? Yeah, absolutely. But you know why? Because there's earlier validation. Now, it's false validation that they've arrived. And
that makes sense.
You literally do arrive when you get drafted and waltz across the stage and, dap it up with the commish, get the hat. You literally have arrived in the NBA.
Yes.
But they're put on such a pedestal, and social media is really the engine behind that. And I understand it. And if I was 20 or 19, I'd be utilizing it as well.
Yep.
Not only for monetization purposes, but just to kind of get the, it's what you do. I understand when you're that age. Hell, I'm on Instagram now, mostly, work and family stuff. But I get it. Same with you. But the last call, they used the word entitled. And they are entitled in a different way and spoiled in a way and misled, maybe the better word.
Yeah.
In a way that young hockey, young football, and young baseball players are not. Just think about the arduous off-Broadway ascent that a young hockey player has.
That's right.
There's no glory. I mean, you love it, but there's no glory getting up at 3:30 for ice time to go to the sticks and
play
on a pond or whatever you're doing early on up in Canada or certain spots in our country. You're doing it in relative anonymity. You're grinding.
Yeah.
Baseball, you get drafted. I mean, you go into the minors.
Yeah. Same thing with hockey. Like that's what I'm saying. You're in the AHL. Like it takes a while.
Understood. Football, if you're not carrying your weight, you know what? Transfer portal gone. No. You're going to get benched. I mean, if you're not playing physically, benched. Basketball, the AA, and I don't want to dump it all at their doorstep, but man, from the time these kids are 9, 10, 11, their hands are held, they're falsely elevated, and it really has an adverse effect. And we see it nightly in the NBA. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney until 2. That is Carton and Roberts. We're going to roll with this for a little bit. Hopefully the phones are worked out. I think they are. We'll hammer the phones coming up next. And then we got Braxton Berrios next hour. Talk a little Jets and just how good can Zach Wilson be. All that and more coming up on The Fan.